right, I think we're good. Intro. I think we're good. I hope we're good.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. No, don't say anything. I got to hype you first, okay? So I'm excited. All right, we're back with another episode. First, the sponsors. Head over to www.johnbartoloshow.com and check out a complete list of the sponsors there. The ice maker, sorry. I want to thank a few of them now. Rhino Metals, Galco Leather Holsters, Gallo Technology, Blackwater Ammunition, Inforce Weapon Lights, Pulsar Thermal Imaging Technology, and of course, shout out to 6 Hour. Shout out to them. Appreciate those guys. We got a quick little update. Next week, we got an amazing show with Tom Taylor of 6 Hour. Recently, they backed out of the NSSF, the USCCA, NSSF's version of their show, like the NRA show, like SHOT Show. They backed out of it. So we're going to get into that. Excited about that. So appreciate everybody. Thank you to the moderators. We're going to get started. I got a special guest today. She's quite the amazing little lady and has quite the story. And I want to get into this. We got the one and only. Do you prefer a shark or a baby shark?
Oh, no, the shark.
The shark.
No, baby.
The baby shark's a song, right?
It is a song. Yeah,
isn't it?
Little kid song.
I know, but I've listened. I've heard it. We got the shark. Hannah Summers.
Oh, rad. How you doing?
I had to hype you just the right way. But Baby Shark is a song, and that's okay. I like that song.
It's okay. I'm more about the dun.
Oh, wow, Jaws. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Don't go swimming in the dark. I'll get you.
Okay. So how your story is really interesting. I want everybody to kind of take a minute and hear her out. How did you get to being a fighter? What made you want to do this?
It was one of those situations. It just fell in my lap. It was meant to be kind of thing.
The mic. Talking.
Yeah, right in the mic.
In the mic.
Try to talk to you over here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was always an athlete, pretty aggressive. Played soccer. I played that for about 10 or 11 years. I was the goalkeeper that would get carded and kicked off.
Oh, wow.
Get off the field, right? Never mean, just my uncle would put Slapshot on, that hockey movie. And,
that's the best.
I go to grab the ball and I'm going to duck underneath, pop up. And, when a fourth grader flips a girl over his shoulder, you make the elite teams pretty quick. And then about halfway through high school, I found rugby. And I just went die hard of that. So passionate. I loved every minute of it.
It might be the best club sport, right?
Oh, it's so good, and just such a community feel.
It's a club. It's like great. The ultimate club.
It is. It's a club.
It's a club sport. It really is, and it's okay to be a club sport. Like, it's great. It's fun. I know a lot of guys play. I loved it. Oh yeah. Rugby was so great, and that's how I got into fighting. So I ended up playing for the WPL league. So that's the Women's Premier League, highest level of women's rugby. Domestically. It's crazy.
Yeah, in our country. So that was pretty cool. Traveled all over the country played some Canadian teams. Pretty badass. And there I met Robin Woods. She was a legend on our team. She ended up being an amateur MMA fighter herself. Opened up a gym in Portland, Oregon. And, Robin's great. She's brutally honest. She's not going to sugarcoat anything. And it's pretty well known rugby players in the off season. You still are drinking beer and eating food. You're just not burning the calories, so maybe you put on a little winter fluffy coat. So she was straight up. She said, hey, guys, don't get fat. Come take a free jiu-jitsu class. I got you. And I was one of the only ones that showed up. And she was real good at feeding my ego. I'm not a ground expert, but just a few weeks in there, she's in my ear just telling me, you got the mentality for this. You got the perfect body type for it. It's like, okay. And one day I got in there and I was just there before any of the coaches. I got in a little early and I never hit a bag before or boxed, but the bag was there and there was like the Goodwill pile of boxing gloves that they hadn't taken out yet. So I grabbed a pair and I just started. I'm sure no technique. I don't know, but I didn't hear her. She came into the gym behind me, and at that point, she's like, "You should try this." So I just told her, "Okay, let's go. Let's try it out." And when I came back in the next week, she said, "I got a fight booked for you." Like, oh, okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So at that point on, I said, okay. She kind of kept her hands off me a little bit. She wanted to make sure I really wanted it. A lot of guys say they want to be a fighter until they get in the ring, and then it's a different story, right? So she hit me up. She set me up with a boxing coach, George Gonzales. I mean, he's got to be one of the best boxing coaches in the Pacific Northwest, and I was working with him 3 days a week. learning how to not die on the ground. And 3 months later, I took my first MMA fight.
Amazing.
Which was epic. You know, it was at the Roseland Theater in Portland.
You're still learning. I mean, you're still learning on the fly.
Oh yeah, I mean that was in 2018, so I haven't been doing it too long. But
it's crazy.
But I mean, it was just so cool, and what experience! I mean, you can look through my Instagram, you'll see those photos. I mean, it's a scary process fighting, but the moment I got in that cage, I'm just cheesing. I was so stoked to be there, and it was a way to crash right into it. There's 3,000 or 4,000 people there at that venue. I had my rugby club was there supporting me. My family was out there. Oh, it was just epic. We ended up getting a fight of the year for that fight. So that was pretty cool. Got
2 years in, you're already in the frying pan, right in the fire. It's crazy. Now, obviously coming from rugby, not many people are going to be like, are you out of your mind? It was probably a pretty easy transition. Like, I'm going to be a fighter. But at any point where you like, this is crazy. You know, I'm in the ring now. Because that's a really quick turnaround. Most people are doing 15 years of martial arts before they...
Yeah, not 3 months, right?
Not 3 months.
Fighting a girl that's been fighting for 5 years. She's a blue belt in Jujitsu. And, I mean, it was an ugly fight. I was swinging and missing and spinning. But it was like an old school... movie scenario where I hit you, her head whips back. Okay, you hit me. Okay, head back. Oh, it was ugly.
You're just learning as you go.
Oh, I didn't know. You know, going back to those hockey movies, I pulled her T-shirt over her head.
Oh yeah, you're like, let me just throw the uppercut.
Oh, it was so great.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
You know, but I think that shock factor, especially for my family, rugby was that. I mean, I went from being a goalie in soccer, and, you know, I didn't go and just play on my high school team when I started, right? No, of course I go, I end up playing with the adult leagues right off the bat. So, you know, it's funny being 15 years old and trying to recruit the college graduates to come play on your team.
There's a huge stigma, I think, to being a good athlete, because you do kind of get thrown right in the fire right away. Like, there's a lot of guys, you know, that are superstar athletes, and they kind of get the nod before somebody else, but you got to be willing to really learn on the fly in the ring, like while it's all happening in front of you. And that's not easy sometimes. You kind of pay a little bit of a penalty sometimes for being a good athlete.
Yeah, and you know, if you want to be successful at what you do, you got to be passionate. You have to want to do it. You have to want to be there. And, you know, what's a better way to find out? You find out quick. Why are you going to waste your time if you hate it?
Right. No, it's a good way to put it. Now, you came out. I want to touch on this. You came out to our range day we had, and we had so many great spots. It was a lot of fun. And you just kind of moseyed around, checked everything out. It's kind of a wild time. Why would that be something that interests you?
Well, first off, that was just such a chill event. It was easy to just walk around and, you know, try all the stations, and then to be able to go back and go to my favorite spots all over again.
What were your favorites? I mean, Inforce was there, Volkortsen was there, Right On was there. I know the goodie bags, everything. I mean, what was one of your favorite places?
I mean, I think just right off the bat, being able to learn how to shoot a gun from a Call of Duty character.
Tony.
Oh my gosh, Tony was the man. That was cool. You know, I played Modern Warfare, so that was...
Don't tell him that. He'll get excited. Don't tell him that. Go.
Yeah, that was a big, like, that was cool. And of course, just seeing everybody, I was stoked to be invited. Cool having a wife working in the UFC. That helps a little bit.
That helps, right?
That helps, yeah.
That helps.
You know, and it just so happens she's my favorite person in the world. So, hey, let's go out and shoot together, hang out on a Saturday. Oh, she's epic.
So, you get the opportunity to go to this. Is it something you wanted to learn, or did you always shoot your whole life? I'm just curious.
No, you know, I haven't shot my whole life. I've been a few times. Nothing as organized and instructional as that. My uncle's taken me out, not to a range.
Just blast a few rounds off,
like, I get on the Bronco, drive up to the mountains, and
just
there's a target down there. Let's go. Yeah, I mean, having
that's fun too.
Oh no, that was cool.
Yeah, that's fun too.
Yeah, but it was nice to learn how to do it and try different kinds of guns out.
You leave with a little bit of knowledge, and that's what's cool about it. And it's not the key. What we wanted to have happen was we didn't want it to be invasive. We didn't want to be in your face thing. We wanted it to be a fun, loose thing that it was just kind of like, we're chilling, but you're learning.
It's a badass hangout.
Yeah, that's it. A hangout, kind of like
stuff, shoot things. I mean, there was explosions going on. How epic when they had the little target on the movie.
The Right On booth, the Right On booth.
Shoot, that was pretty cool.
Towards the end, like when you guys were leaving, we started getting a little out of hand, and things were blowing up a little too much. And we tried to make it as fun as possible. And I think when you have here's the thing: when you have cool brands involved in it, it's easy to control the fun meter. Yeah, when you have like some when you bring in some stuffy brands, it's awful, and they don't know how to do it, and they end up ruining it. You know how that goes. It's never.
I mean, even watching was it Kolby, the world champion?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! I mean, I was so stoked on that time shooting, those 22s.
Kolby Pavlock has won, many rimfire championships, but to all of us, he'll always still be Kolby. And I love him to death, and he's such a great guy. He's been around for years and years and years, and we've seen him pretty much grow up before a lot of our eyes. So
cool.
Yeah, he's great.
And look, he was the main event there at the end of
yeah. He's fun, and he's learning too. It's not like it's Tony, where Tony's been around everybody, he's taught everybody. Kolby's learning on the fly too. Tony, it's like just to get him to walk out on the range and do the whole thing. It's fun, to see it all. But I love doing that stuff, and I love opening up new communities to what we do to, because I'm always seeing what you guys do. I'm always at the UFC. I'm at the fights. I'm at this. I'm at that. And I'm pretty familiar with combatives, having done martial arts. It's fun to expose you guys to our world a little bit.
Oh, yeah, that was real cool.
And that's what's enjoyable.
I know what my next purchase is going to be.
Yeah.
And I got to go back out there.
And did you leave there feeling like, I want to go buy this or that, or did you feel like, hey, I have a little bit more of an understanding and now I feel more comfortable?
Yeah, I feel split now because, I knew I wanted a handgun. I think the idea to build
torn now.
Well, torn because then I got to shoot the AK-47.
Okay.
And that was just
mind
blown. Like, okay, well, that's the real toy I want. Well, not a toy, really. Dangerous weapon, but...
Not a toy. No, but like, some of the stuff, I don't mean to use the word toy. Some of the stuff is meant to be fun. And that's like, within the context of taking it to a range. It's okay to have fun. Shooting, it's supposed to be a little bit of a release.
Even in fighting, right? I mean, training's fun, fighting's fun, but then the day on my hands is a dangerous set of weapons, too.
Now, there is this movement. I talked about this with you offline for a minute, and I've had several women on. There is this movement amongst women, and I love seeing it, to just be more capable. And it's something I talked to you about a little offline. Is that something you love seeing, the energy in women that want to be more capable, just be more self-defense minded, whether it's be better at everything? I love seeing that energy. And, your energy exudes that. You push that. Like, you just want to be good. Like, you'll look at something in here and you'll be like, I want to grab that and swing that well. That's a great energy. It's fun to see that in women. Do you see a lot of it in fighting? Are you trying to cultivate more of it? Is it something that excites even you when you see it in another woman? Because in men, you don't see the same. Men are very like, my dick's 12 inches. Hey, like I'm the man. In women, it's nice to see that. It's rewarding, and I feel like you're representative of that. And do you try to cultivate that in more women?
Absolutely. But the word I like to use is empowerment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, whether or not you're empowering others around you or finding a way to empower yourself. I guess even my t-shirt, Women of Combat, they're one of my sponsors. And I mean, they just changed what my whole idea was, what I thought fighting was. I've always been one of the only women around training with men, which is great. I love guys. Hey. But to go on these trips, what Women of Combat does is they're a group that they help combative female athletes, and from finding sponsors, helping us with gear, connecting us with promoters, which is huge. Sometimes when you're in an area and there's only a couple women, what do you do now?
Yeah.
So that's nice to have that connection. But a really huge part to my career that they've been a big part of was they do these trips where they kind of draw the hat, 5 women, and we go on a travel training trip. We did one to El Paso, did one up to Colorado with Elevation Fight Team, and that taught me is that there's other women out here doing this too. I'm a passionate person.
You're not alone.
There's other women that are into this too, that are committing everything to that. But and more than that, they call me the shark, right? And I like to talk about always moving forward, and being the shark is not just about fighting. To me, it's a mentality. So you don't have to be in the cage to be a fighter, to have that spirit, to feel empowered, and to want to better those around you.
Do you think I want to ask you this because you're a level-headed person. Do you think it's ridiculous that in being a part of the community that you're a part of, do you think it's ridiculous that the transgender community is starting to dive into fighting and men are fighting as women? I'm going to say it that way. I know that might
talk about this.
No, I want you to tell. I want your opinion on, because I think it's fair to say no.
Yeah. Oh man, this is a tough subject because I like to believe I'm open-minded. I mean, obviously,
I think you are, but I think you can give a level-headed answer.
Yeah, I think there's biological differences, and I am 100% down for trans rights. But when you get into combative athletes or serious competitive sports, I think we're starting now look at a biological level.
I think we all agree. It's, I think everybody in the chat, anybody would agree. But it's like, what's the medium? Do you revoke your right to compete at an athletic level? You know what I'm saying? Like, there has to be a balance. Or do you create a separate division?
That's a good idea. Yeah, especially if there's enough, but then you got to go back and forth because going one direction or the other, you don't want, male to female versus female to male. There's still
I think they should just create a division. I'll watch it.
Yeah,
I'll watch it.
And I think
because everything deserves its division.
A lot of people aren't going to like my opinion so much on this.
I think you'd be surprised. I think
to be a high-level athlete, there is a lot of sacrifice that comes into that. You sacrifice your time, your family, money, a lot of opportunities you don't get to take because you are committing everything to this sport. And if you want to compete high-level MMA, maybe that is a sacrifice, and here you have to hold off that transition until you're done with your career. I'm not saying don't transition, but if you want to have a go at it being a professional athlete.
Well, Caitlyn Jenner came out and said he was, she was against it,
Look, and she was in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Badass athlete, and you know what? And great for her for then coming out and being her true self. But there's a time and place for things, and there's sacrifices, and what is it that you truly want?
I agree.
Do you want to sacrifice that sports career and just be you? That's cool. If you want to be that athlete, maybe be that athlete, and just know that someday you still, you're never going to fight forever.
Yeah.
Right? It's a short...
I think your answer is a more than fair answer. I think it's and I think you'll find a lot of people agree with you, and not just straight people. Gay, and even probably some trans.
Yeah, and I'm a proud gay fighter, and I'm all about trans rights. I just
balance.
You gotta wait.
Have you seen firsthand you lose any opportunities because of that? Has anyone yet that you know of lost opportunity because of a trans? Because there's one that's fighting right in a. I don't even know. You have to tell me.
Oh, where she broke her face.
Yeah. Who? It was the guy with the tats, right?
So you know what? That situation, didn't she start fighting like within a year of transitioning? Why?
Maybe there needs to be a wait period.
Like, did you transition and then start to fight, or did you want to fight and then how did that order come along? And
I think when he was a year. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think when he was a he, right? When she was a he. I'm trying to get this right, and believe me, I am trying to be respectful. I'm trying to get it right. I think when she was a he, they didn't have a great record, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like I'm guessing. I don't know, but it's something along those lines, Yeah,
I haven't seen that. I've seen the buff photos.
Yeah. I saw the photo and the meme. Somebody can correct me in here, you know what I mean? But in the chat. But I recall the record wasn't great, if I recall. And then do you see that as maybe there's going to be people that are going to just take it as opportunity, right? I would think.
Well, hearing that. Okay, so you already knew you wanted to be a fighter. You're already tapping into that.
Right. Okay, good point. Yep.
So
you're right.
It just seems funky timing to me. What?
Yeah.
Right? How do you transition within a year or two? You're already.
Yeah, I didn't think of it in that way. Like you're already a fighter. It's not like you. Yeah. It creates a there's no question it creates a very unfair tip of the scale. And I know it's a topic that you may be uncomfortable talking about, but I think you could be a real leader in that conversation. And I think that especially
being open-minded, right? It's
I
not
think you
like
be
I'm so
open-minded.
extreme in any way. I just.
Yeah. Now, it's hard because how do you? I want to be like solution-based. I think ultimately you just have to create a different division.
I think that'd be a great idea. That'd be really cool. It's gonna take time, right? And you
look, Adam Waits struggled to find fighters, so I mean,
or what the female 155. Not a lot of promotions even have that weight class division, right? So
create a division. That's it.
Right?
Create a division.
Create a movement.
Create a division.
Women weren't even in the combative sports all that much. This weren't really that big. So someone's just gotta do it.
Yeah, I think you just create a division and you dump everybody into it and you let them fight it out.
And
you make a champion.
And how about you don't even have to have weight classes. It could just be, when you go to a BJJ tournament, you have the open open competition.
That's a good point too. Maybe like a grappling meet or something like that might be the platform for that.
I don't want people to have to transition and they become their true selves and they can't get that release of being athletic, and especially if they're passionate for combat.
Honestly, I don't think about it that much. I think about it in the sports context because especially in powerlifting, when women's records are being broken by someone who transitioned, I think that's completely unfair because I know how hard it is to work for those records. I think that's completely off baseline. Like, you lose me there, and you lose me with the combative sports too because they could get somebody killed.
Look, and even if I know there's different hormones and you can block some of the testosterone, so that I get that. You could take away that advantage. Yeah. How about bone density?
Yeah.
There's a difference between our bodies.
You make a good point. I didn't even think of the thing that they're already a fighter. That's a huge point. Yeah. And are they seeing opportunity? Are they seeing dollar signs?
Right. So yeah, I feel like maybe you transition young and 5-10 years later you find this passion, this fire for it.
Different.
I mean, that's a different story than, hey, I really like fighting. Oh man, I'm not doing so good. Let's transition. Hey, it's not even been a year yet. Let's go, ladies. That just seems a little funky to me.
A little funky. Now, I'm sure I put you on the spot and you hadn't thought about that much, but do you think about that stuff? And do you think about like the pay scales and other stuff? Does that stuff that you kind of reflect on or talk about?
With the trans community? Or
with just women in fighting in general too?
Yeah, I mean...
Pay scales is always a hot topic.
That's true. I mean, I'm not quite at the level yet where we're getting
to fight about it.
Big bucks yet anyways.
But I certainly see women...
We talk about that ceiling, right?
The glass one,
yeah. I know jumping right into it when I was still an amateur, I was getting... I only had 1 or 2 amateur fights and I was already getting offers. Hey, 1,000 on 1,000. Just come on out. I'm like... And I have a male coach and he's like, that's lucky. People get 5 and 5 their first fight. 4 and 4. And being a female, being exciting, you might get paid a little bit more right off the bat, but then you find that ceiling's a little bit lower.
Yeah, I think with the women's community, I think when we talk about the ceiling, I think there's good and bad. Okay, so if you're a woman in fighting like Valentina or Amanda, they're doing well. And is it equal to what the men are? No. Are they definitely headliners? 100%. 100%. I love watching those scraps. And some of them I consider friends, really good friends. And I'm rooting for them. I do think women get some great opportunities thrown their way because there's sponsorship, there's other things that they can do, and I hear about some of these things. I would like to see the pay come up a little bit for some of where I think they squeeze them a lot, Hannah, is the mid-card level. That's where a lot of the squeeze is, because when you have, whether it's UFC or anywhere, a 5 or a 6 or a 7, typically the men tend to make a little bit more. And is that happening, in your opinion, more at the negotiating table, like women don't know their worth, or is it something that's just a stigma around the different fight game?
That's probably just something from the top that needs to
adjust,
work its way
down.
Yeah, and that's in all sports too, right?
It's all sports. It's all sports.
I mean, look at women's soccer. I mean, this has been a huge conversation.
Huge.
It's been going on for years.
I think it's the wrong platform. Like, where they lose me with women's soccer is it's a popular sport. It's not as popular as the men's. And unfortunately, there's not the same dollars in it. In my opinion. I don't have the
numbers right now, but I don't know. Talking about the USA, the American women's team is off the charts. They're winning. They're taking gold medals home. But I gotta find these numbers, because at first, you hear the argument, well, they don't make as much. Or, they're not.
They don't draw in as much.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think 4 years ago that started to change.
And believe me, I could be wrong. I'm not saying I'm
like,
right.
Oh, wait, it is. It's.
I know that's the case that's been made.
Even when I played rugby, when I first started playing, I mean, we were part of the men's club, but we got to practice on the sidelines while the men got to play with the whole field.
Yeah, that part's not good. That part's not. No, that shouldn't happen. I'm all for.
Basketball talking about. Well, maybe give them all the opportunities leading up, maybe they can get more of an audience.
Well,
more
women,
of a fan base, more training, get more higher level.
Yeah, I think what women in general who want the equal pay battle. I think there's one thing I would say to them if I was giving them advice as a blanket statement, or I was saying you want to get to that level, you have to understand where women's sports are in the 200-year history of sport in the United States. You know what I mean? And the male side has been around for a really long time doing it and building it. And there were times in the NBA and the MLB where they weren't making a whole lot, and a lot of them were working in the offseason. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jim Brown, who's an all-time great running back in the NFL, I mean, he worked in the offseason. But the sports have grown, the ownership has grown, and it's taken a huge quantum leap forward, especially in the 80s. Like in basketball, you can look when Magic and Bird came in and TV came into it, it made it a huge thing. Same thing with other sports and other greats, Gretzky, so on, a lot of the GOATs. I think it's a matter of women will have more than their time, as the Amanda Nunez's, the Valentina Shevchenkos.
Yes, these women are examples.
Yes,
they're breaking ceilings. We
exactly.
can see it happening.
Yes. And then you take notes and you do the same thing.
If they can do it, you can do it.
You can do
right?
it. Exactly. And I think that time will come, and I think it naturally has to take its course, because I love watching the women's fights. I think they're fucking awesome. And sometimes it's the most electric division. The problem is Amanda and Valentina can't find anyone to fight worth a shit. I mean, that's
really just a too bad they're not closer in weight.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I know they fought each other, and it's exciting, both those fights. Mm-hmm. But
yeah, but the equal pay thing, I don't know. What are your thoughts on it? I mean, do you reconcile it right away, even if, let's say the revenue isn't there? Do you say pay everybody? I mean, where does the money come from, right? If it's not equal, that's the hard part.
Yeah, I know pay-per-view and seats, it all comes into it. I wish it wasn't about being male or female. It's like, who brings money in?
Right.
As much as we're entertaining, we're fighting, it's a sport, this is still a business.
Yeah, I don't know the stats on it, but I know we can look it up. Like women's U.S. soccer versus men's, what the revenue is. I don't know.
I know anyone.
So I'm giving full disclosure. Yeah, we're gonna look it up. We're gonna get some data on it. I got my top guy on it. But the thing is, the revenue has to be there. I think we both agree. It has to make sense, and there has to be that growing period. I think women's soccer in the U.S. has had some stars, but have they had a Michael Jordan level star? Have they had a Tom Brady level star? It's an honest question to take the sport to another level. And that was part of the whole marketing plan behind the NBA when they did the Dream Team. Mm-hmm. They got everybody in the world to
and
start.
And you're talking about marketing too, right?
100% marketing.
What about the the women's basketball right now?
So women's basketball is an
I see now there's some advertisements on ESPN, but this is my first year I've ever even
paid attention.
Basketball.
Yeah, paid attention. So women's basketball is an interesting one. I don't know the revenue. What do you got? You got data? Yeah. So
I got the data.
Oh, good. Hey.
It's not by much, but between 2016 and 2018, the women's team did bring in more revenue by about $1 million.
So there you go.
And they are paid less. So
what's the argument there?
Right. No. Yeah.
They paid less. They're bringing in more money.
100%.
They're bringing more gold medals. They're bringing more wins home.
They're definitely bringing in more gold medals. The men's U.S. soccer is going to have.
So is it about winning?
Their soccer team, is just doing a lot better than the men's team.
Do they have a bad marketing firm? They may, right? I mean, I feel like they get some deals, but only one of them or two of them get Visa level deals. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's something in the marketing too that holds them back. Some's fishy, right? Fair enough. I'm on. Listen,
why?
If you think for 1 second, if I know Valentina's bringing in the revenue, I'm going to sit here and say she doesn't deserve equal. But you'd be crazy because absolutely, I don't want to beef with her. But
she'll come in.
She'll come in here. Yeah, watch out. She'll kick the door open. It'll be over. But I think there's something there. Do I think that women's soccer is a great example? Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. There's no question, and I'm all for that. I think everybody would be.
Some time. How far has this come already for women's combat sports in the last decade?
Huge. Who was some of the pioneers for you?
Rhonda Rousey.
Oh wow.
That's what I would have said.
Big one right there. Well, actually talking about women and being empowered, I was living in Hawaii and I was watching her fight and I was just such a fan. At that time I was working in the service industry. Totally fine for a female to be bartender. Cool.
I think that's fucking great.
And I had a buddy of mine.
In Vegas, here, you make thousands.
Yeah. But just different opportunities. I like working with my hands. I like seeing results for my hard work. I had a buddy that worked construction.
Cash.
Yeah. And he'd go around and just like offer all these guys off the streets a job here. And I was like, hey buddy, I'll do it. I would love to learn. He goes, oh no, we don't hire women. Like, excuse me?
You're like, how dare you?
But and then and look what Rhonda Rousey did. I mean, was it Dana White quoted about women only belonging on your arm in the UFC? And Rhonda Rousey brought an apology. And you know what? Obviously, that's not the case.
I think, for me, everyone brings up Rhonda, and she's a great one. For me, it was when Rhonda, Kat Zingano, Misha, like it was that mix, that whole group. When they came in, I said, okay, it's for real now. And
Holly Holmes, too. She should be up there in that list.
Yeah, and that was only, when we're talking about the pay scale, that was only 10 years. Was it 10 years ago?
Not that long ago.
Not that long ago. So what I try to do is, I agree with you with the women's soccer, but put perspective on it. You're only talking about a 10-year leap. And they were probably fighting, this here. They were, whether they say it or not, I don't know. Other than Rhonda towards the end, they were fighting small money. It wasn't it wasn't life-changing money.
No, and if they were making a lot of money, it wasn't from the actual fight purse. It's just being good at networking, getting those sponsors.
Yeah, and I would love to see, we won't know, but like Rhonda's pay scale as it went up, I highly doubt, it just takes a little bit of time, and you have to build that notoriety in the division, and you need a strong division. Then, to an extent, and I want to ask you this, where this falls for you, to an extent, a little bit of a gimmick falls in there too, but some people are fans of a gimmick and some people are not. And of course, a gimmick amplifies whatever it is you're doing, whether you're Jake Paul or Conor McGregor or any of these people. Where do you fall with the whole gimmick thing? You hate it?
Personas?
You like it?
Yeah, I think there's a place for it here and there. I'm a big fan of Chael Sonnen.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because from Portland, Uncle Chael. Yeah, but he's actually like a really cool guy.
The bad guy. He loves doing that.
It's just sometimes it's cringy.
Yeah, some of it does come on.
Some of it's bad. When I first got into this, my manager did talk to me a little bit about
a gimmick.
Yeah, we're getting a bit more of a persona, and she's like, the way to do it right is you don't just make up somebody. It is yourself. It's a part of your personality, and you just choose.
It's just amplified
to amplify that out. Or maybe what about like superheroes, right? So maybe putting on that mask makes you feel empowered. If that's what you need to do to feel great,
I think some get, yeah.
For me, it's not. I think my first interview, my manager handed me some note cards, some bullet points, really trying to
talking points, yeah.
Yeah, and I butchered it. But come talk to me on the fly, and I can.
Yeah, chill.
So for me, I need to be genuine, and I need to not feel that pressure of creating somebody. I just need to be me.
Right.
But I'm not going to throw shade on anybody that likes to.
Well, you look back, some gimmicks are all time. Like, there's no question, like, Ric Flair is an all-time gimmick. Like, that is fucking awesome, bro.
And he was like the WWE.
Yeah.
Come on, look at
and honestly, he said it to Conor once. He said it on Twitter. He goes, by the way, you're welcome. Like, I was doing that for 30 years. You're welcome you can look up that tweet. It's like a real tweet. He said, by the way, you're welcome for your gimmick. You know what I mean? And I think there is something to that in the women's division and in general. You look at like sports like bodybuilding, just winning isn't enough. No one can name for me who won the last 5 Olympias. It's just not enough. You have to have a little bit of I like to call it like the balance between a gimmick and a persona is personality.
Yeah.
I think you have to have a personality.
You know what? And if you don't have a personality, maybe a gimmick is for you.
Yes. If you don't have a personality,
you
like
hire someone to make one for you.
Yeah. Like when I talk to, like, when you talk one-on-one with somebody like Kolby Covington, he's totally normal. Totally normal. When you put him on and you amplify him and he's selling a fight, he's a different person.
Why did you say that? That's weird.
I know. He's I get it. And
but do you watch his fights?
Yeah, I think we all
like
do.
what he's saying? Yes, no. Are you still going to listen?
Exactly.
Yes, you're still going to listen.
Now, it's a fine line. is Sean O'Malley a gimmick, or is that who he is? Is some of these guys, you kind of, it's not cringe, but you're kind of feeling them out. Like, is that really who they are, or are they trying to cater to everybody? Are they trying to? So I think it's a fine line.
Finding that like awkward cringe. Henry Cejudo is probably one example where it's like, I don't know what it was. I just like, but he backs it up. Look at the Olympic man. Oh my gosh, champ. Like,
he's a super good bad guy, and some people are. Look, Patrick Swayze was amazing in Point Break as a bad guy. Some people play a better bad guy than they do a good guy. I get it,
And I'm fine with bad guys. It's just the awkward ones where it's like, is this a fake bad guy?
Yeah.
Like, you gotta
and I'll be the first to say, like, Brady's whole shtick, Tom Brady, that, shucks, gee willikers, that's a shtick too. You know what I mean? If people think he's really like that behind the scenes, he's gonna be that way because he's trying to give you nothing. So it turns into a shtick after a while.
Right, but that's probably a little bit of him that he's just choosing to amplify that part.
Oh, shucks, gee willikers, they played really well.
Golly.
They're amazing. I don't know. We won again. It's weird. Like, it's just that approach is part of a gimmick. So you can play it both ways. You can play it a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
I think in the fight game, there's a lot of bravado. So everybody wants to be like, I'll fight anybody. Fuck them. There's a lot of that. I'm waiting for someone to get in the ring and say, like, everybody's super talented on the roster. I'm just a guy trying to get the next fight.
Yeah. There's a lot of energies going on. There's a lot of energies.
There's a lot of flying around.
You can feel it is real. Sometimes you hear those guys like talking shit in the talking in the cage.
Can swear.
I don't talk bad to my opponents, and I'm definitely one. If I'm in a grapple turn, I'm going to talk to you while I'm choking you out. Like, I might say stuff. I'll make weird sound effects, but that's genuine. When you're in there in that moment, and like, that's your real personality. Watch someone in the cage. That'll come out a little bit more. Now,
it's got to be tough being in Vegas, but awesome at the same time being in the fight game because you're around the best of the best.
Oh, it's so cool. I'm coming back from an injury, so it's like, I want to take advantage of this so bad. So I'm almost there.
There's a lot here.
Oh, man. I really just want to go bang at Syndicate.
It's hard. It's hard to stay on the sidelines, but being here, you get to surround yourself with not just the best, some of the great fighters, just kind of hanging out too, just lurking around, and it creates a tremendous energy and opportunity, and you have to pinch yourself that you get to participate in the environment for a while.
Absolutely, and energy is a great word for that too, right? It's not just competing. In this year, not being able to train as much as I like to. I told you I was an athlete all my life, so not being able to use my body has been a huge growing process. Well, now I know how to listen to it, so I'm sure, I'm probably going to be able to walk now when I'm 65. I want to be able to play and still do stuff even after this career. And I think because of this year off, I'm going to be able to have that opportunity. But there's more to fighting than fighting. So I think learning about networking a little bit more, working on the IQ, being able to study, being able to just meet the people that I study, super cool.
Yeah, you get to ratchet up your everything. The people use the term level up. It's like you get.
Absolutely.
And the thing I like to say is, like, when you go from the high school game to the college game or to the professional game, when you start looking around those locker rooms as you climb the ladder, everybody was somebody. You know what I mean? Everybody was king shit wherever they came from. That's why they're here.
Yeah.
So that's what you have to remember. I used to say this before every trade show, anything we would go to, I go, remember, everybody's somebody, just ask them. They'll tell you. And I remember playing sports, and one of my coaches saying to me one time, he said, look around all these lockers, kid. Everybody was somebody. Trust me.
Way to say it.
Everybody was an all-star. Everybody was a stud. I mean, there's not a person on some of these rosters that they're good. They're good. I mean, there's black belts and disciplines that aren't winning anything.
I mean, your first day, you're never the best in the best in the gym, right?
No, it takes years.
You know, when you want to get better, if you're already the top of your dojo, right? Maybe it's time to find somewhere else where you're the bottom of the ranking. If you want to grow and improve, surround yourself by people that are better than you.
100%.
I don't know. I always like to say, have friends that are smarter than you.
100%. 100%.
You know what? You were talking about women too. I mean, even I've got 3 main coaches, and 2 of them are badass females that I look up to.
Badass.
Surround yourself with what you want to become.
Do you feel like the men that have a hard time placing women a little bit higher than maybe they are? Do you feel like those are the guys that maybe they didn't have sisters, maybe they weren't hugged enough as a kid? I don't know. But to me, I know I use the term all the time, and look, I know it's going to sound, women are great. I think I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, okay, like I had a mother, I had sister. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the stigma?
Man, I don't have sisters. I don't know. I mean, I'm the only woman in my generation in my family. I've got all cousins that are all boys, all bunch of brothers, you know, and they treat women great, and they're huge, big, badass guys too, and
there's still some that hang on to that
ego issue. I don't know if it's one of these issues.
It could be that. It could be that.
Get with the times, man.
Those guys, they'll learn the hard way that
like, what's wrong with your ego that you can't see a woman?
Let's just say
strong?
women are undefeated in certain categories. Let's just say that women are undefeated. So, without being gross, but I love having you tell your story, because I think it could mean so much to so many people. I think being who you are, representing the community you represent, saying the things that you're saying, I don't think that I think a lot of people share your thoughts. I think a lot of people do agree with you. And I think people need to want to empower themselves. And the only way you're going to empower yourself through these paths is the freedoms that we have and the ability to do that and carve your own path and take what you think is yours and work for it. And I wish more people would share that. And I think more people should, because I think we'd be in a better place.
Yeah, I think a lot of people got that little spark in there somewhere. And you know what? If you're just not erupting into flames yourself, maybe find someone that can maybe blow a little oxygen, a little
stoke
something.
the flames a little.
Get going.
I agree. I definitely agree. I think it's great. Now, with that being said, we are where we are. Hopefully, the next few years. I mean, this COVID shit doesn't help, of course, because it slows everything down. Everything's, crawls to a halt, and it's hard,
But that's for everybody, That's not just women. That's slowing it down for all fighters.
It's hard. It's hard in sports in general. I mean, it seems like football's getting back to somewhat normal, which is a first step, So how the NFL goes, so how the rest of the sports leagues and UFC and the fight game in general has paved the way to say, like, we're going forward, we're doing this. So
I like that, going forward.
We're going forward, and
just keep going.
And that's why I'm a big fan of the fight game, because they just move forward. Did you catch the Fury fight, by the way?
I watched highlights of it.
Crazy.
Whoa.
People say boxing's dead. I'm like, bullshit. Did you watch that fight last night? The problem with boxing is there's too many divisions.
Yeah.
It's too watered down. There's too many.
There's so many rounds too, though.
Junior.
Everybody with their ADD now. People watching with those little TikToks and videos. I mean, I don't know if people want to watch 12 rounds. I'm sure we can evolve boxing a little bit. It's not dead, and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah. No, good point.
But I mean, look at MMA evolving. How much it's changed in 10 years, and how much has boxing changed in the last 100 years?
That's a good point. That's valid. Don't you agree?
I mean, we got bare knuckle coming out too. I mean, that's really nothing new. It's just something coming back. That's an old school boxing.
It's so savage too. It's so.
Oh man, I just can't wait to see some people that are actually like training it and get some more boxes in there. I never, something I don't see enough of is body shots. Where's the body shots in bare knuckle boxing? Hey, you're not gonna break your knuckles on someone's stomach.
Well, I think that bare knuckle's still trying to make its place in the universe, so they want exciting knockdowns and knockouts, and I think that that's what they're pushing. Just like in any MMA game, what do they want? Big finishes. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to go to the bell, and that's part of the thing with bare knuckle is everybody's trying to win with that big knockout shot. I think that's part of it. They're trying to sell it too. I mean, they are.
I can't imagine I don't think there is a lot of the distances in that right now.
No.
No.
But
I mean, in a way, I know people think, oh, that's so violent, it's like not okay. But in a way, I bet bare knuckles safer than some part of boxing. I mean, look at boxing. You got the big heavy gloves on, cushions. You're taking repeated headshots. You're getting knocked down. And you can get back up. 3 times in a round you can get back up. You could be knocked out cold and get back up. You get knocked out bare fist, you're probably not going to get back up. So how many headshots have you just saved? How many years did you just keep on your career because you got KO'd?
Damage
Concussion's
is
no joke.
damage is a real thing. Damage is a real thing, and you have to be aware of it. You want to keep your faculties, keep your career. People don't understand that, and what they don't understand about the sports game in general, the fight game has a way of amplifying this more. When it's over and the skill set starts to diminish, it's over. I mean, you see some guys, like a lot of people say, like, why when you start to lose that pop, like there's very few Jose Aldos out there that like they can have this resurgence that at an older age they're crushing it and their boxing's getting better and everything else. That's special. Like Tom Brady, what he's doing at 43, 44, that's special.
They're not done yet.
And they're not done yet. And that, like Aldo, it's insane. It's like he jumped in a time machine. So you have to be very aware of damage and everything else, and you have to be judicious with what you take on and what you don't.
Smart training. You're
Smart
starting
training.
to. I mean, is it Max Holloway that doesn't even do a lot of sparring anymore? I mean,
He doesn't need to.
once you get that skill level there, you got to keep clean. Have fun, stay sharp, right? Stay sharp. You don't need to break yourself down.
Right.
Don't break yourself before the fights even happened.
I agree wholeheartedly. I agree.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I love that you came out for the range day. I think that's
so much
huge.
fun.
And I hope you come back and we're going to do another one. I can't disclose when. I'll tell you offline. You think you know,
Okay,
but
okay.
been privy to some of these conversations. But I'm excited to have you, and hopefully you'll be back. But thank you.
Yeah.
I mean it. Thank
and
you
any
for coming.
women watching out there, you don't have to be in a cage to be a fighter, right? Fighting is a mentality, to have that spirit. If there's something you want in life, then you have to go for it. If someone says you can't do it, screw them, leave them behind. Let them eat your dust and knock down that wall. If the door is not open, then kick it down.
I wish there were more like you. But I don't think you're alone. I think even in your community, I think a lot of the things you touched on, whether it was athletics, pay scale, trans involvement, I think you're right. And I think you find you're not alone. I think if you work hard and you get what you want, you're entitled to say, this is mine.
Yeah, you
That's
gotta
okay.
you don't need to be mean. I mean, if you have that bad guy persona, that's cool. But I mean, to me, I'm just about being passionate and positive, and that helps me. And I just hope that those around me feel a little better too.
Now, I just want to say too, before I let you talk about all your sponsors and everything, you and your wife are amazing people. I love having you guys. Anytime, you're welcome here in the studio, and I'm excited to see what you purchase too for a firearm. That's
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
It's exciting.
Bring Becky in here next time.
100%.
Oh man, her in the strength and conditioning world. We haven't even talked
100%.
about women in that. That's a whole
nother.
ballgame.
That's another podcast.
You know what? We could make a whole hour or two just in
that.
strength and conditioning and the women's coming
Do
up.
a panel.
Oh man.
Now, tell me, let everybody know where they can find you, how they can reach you, and shout out any sponsors you want.
Yeah. So Instagram, the Shark _MMA. Let's see. I got my. Where's the camera? There we go.
There you
Cool
go.
little cards, right?
Yeah, logo.
Yeah,
Look for the
Facebook.
logo. Look for the logo.
Yeah, find the logo, the shark, right? Metallic blue, the Shark _MMA on Facebook. I'm Hannah the Shark Summers. Women of Combat, big sponsor. Check them out on Facebook. Women of Combat, all one word. Any purchase through their merchandise store, that all goes back to supporting female combative athletes, whether it's training, opportunities, training equipment. They're just an awesome group of people. Nancy is awesome. Really just finding those opportunities. Shark Attack Athletics. I represent them a lot when I'm fighting. My wife, Becky, that's kind of her thing right there. With the
Boom.
strength, the conditioning, you need to make weight.
Secret
Give her a
side
call.
hustle.
Yeah, right? Just with that shark, again, that just goes back into that shark theme, always moving forward.
Amen.
Yeah, always going. If you like sushi or poke, check out Island Fin Poke, especially if you're in Florida, right? Lake Mary. Ooh. Oh, yeah. Let them know I sent you. They'll hook you up with a free dole.
Now you make me want a poke bowl.
Yeah.
We just shared the link. Go check it out. Go check out Hannah's Instagram. Appreciate her taking the time. We're going to have to do something with you and Becky. We'll figure that out. I want to thank everybody. I got to thank the sponsors. Shout out to Sig Sauer, of course. Okay, big announcement coming up. We got Tom on the show next week. He's Skyping on. We're going to have all kinds of answers on the whole SHOT Show thing. Gallo Technology, Rhino Metals, Blackwater Ammunition, Inforce Weapon Lights. Shout out to Volquartsen and, of course, Kenzie's Optics, Right On Optics, and Pulsar Thermal Imaging Technologies coming down in price. Go check them out. Guys, the links for all the sponsors are down below. Please click them, check them out. Go check out the pages. Go thank the sponsors. Leave a review. I hope you guys like this podcast. I think Hannah's an amazing leader in the fight game and in being a huge advocate, and I think she speaks the truth. So thank you for coming in. Appreciate you.
Yeah, great time.
Yeah, we're out.